Hello, Gavin here, welcome back to the channel. Today we're looking at my custom fuzz pedal from Bad Penny Effects. So late last summer I put up a video on this pedal, the Little Box from Bad Penny Effects, which is an amazing fuzz pedal. It sounds fantastic on bass as well as guitar, and it really just works great in my setup, so much so that it's not really left my pedal board since I did the video. But around about the same time as I put the video on this up, I started talking to Bad Penny Effects about building this. This is a germanium tone bender style circuit. It's actually their wireless fuzz, but what they've done is they've taken the building blocks of the wireless fuzz, but added in clean circuits in parallel that allow it to sound amazing on bass. Bass always loses the fundamental low end when you put distortion, fuzz, overdrive on it. It's just part of the makeup of that circuitry. But what Mark at Bad Penny's managed to do is put in a clean blend that allows me to blend in the clean signal in parallel with the fuzz, but also a clean boost. So this allows me to have the fuzz almost sit under the clean sound and have everything in between as well. And it's a really cool sound. And as well as that, he's added this second foot switch which engages an effects loop, but the effects loop is only on the clean side. So it allows me to put effects on the clean signal and leave the fuzz completely just crazy fuzz, basically. As well as that though, he's also created this really awesome graphic for me. It's no secret that I love ice hockey and used to play ice hockey, used to be a goalie. So to fit in with that, he's created this really cool graphic using goalkeeper terms from ice hockey as the control names. But then also the graphic and colour scheme is based on my favourite ice hockey team. See if you can guess who that is in the comments below. And just like the Little Box, this is in no way a paid presentation, there's no paid promo here. I bought this pedal just like the Little Box, and I'm only doing this video because I really think that this is a bit of a game changer for bass fuzz, and I think this is something that would appeal to all bass players using fuzz effects. So in the intro clip you heard it with these settings, which is the gain, also referred to as blocker with the goalie terms, at 3/4, the same for 5-hole, which is the tone control, catcher, which is actually the catcher's mitt for goalkeepers, that's set at half, that's your master volume, and then the clean boost, which is called paddle on this one, that's at half, and the clean blend, which is splits on this pedal, that's set at half as well. And that's actually probably my favourite setting of this pedal. We're not using the effects loop yet, we'll come back to that in a little bit. That combined with the Fender jazz bass with flat wounds and the Eden WTDI preamp makes for a massive sound. And that's actually the signal chain for all of it today. It's going to be different basses, but it's the Eden WTDI preamp running direct into Ableton, and I have a Pultec EQ plugin, and that's really just there to warm up that clean DI, because without a cab sim it can be a little harsh. But it's still no cab sims or anything, it's just Pultec to make it a bit warmer sounding on the DI signal. But in the next clip what we're going to do is use the same settings. You see, with that effects loop switch, if you don't have anything in the effects loop, you can actually use it to turn the clean side completely off and only hear the fuzz. And it really highlights just how big a difference those clean signals in parallel really make. So we're going to use the exact same setup again, same bass, same preamp, same pedal settings, but I'm going to engage the effects loop switch to turn the clean sound off part of the way through, and you'll notice it, it's a massive difference. So let's check that out now. So in the next clip we're going to look at a more cleaned up sound, but we're going to do this differently to usual. You see, usually you would turn the gain down to do that type of thing, and we're going to still turn the gain down slightly, but just to about 2/3 of the way up. But what we're also going to do is we're going to turn the clean blend up to about 2/3, so we're getting more of the clean signal and less of the fuzz signal. So we're actually going to put the fuzz like an effect below the clean, so it allows us to get this really big clean sound without the fuzz kind of overpowering it. Because it's in parallel, it sits underneath almost like a second amplifier would. And other than that, we're turning the volume up a little bit just to get the levels right. For this one, we're going to use my Fender Jazz Bass, and since it's an unusual pedal setting, we're going to use an unusual situation, bass playing wise. We're going to play something a bit funkier. We're going for that Bobby Vega influenced, almost more like funk guitar playing. So let's check that out in the next clip. Use that effects loop, and to do this we're going to set the gain just a little bit higher than it was in the last clip, more of the tone control, the blend's going to be back a little bit, just above half, the same as the boost, and we are using a little bit more of the clean boost now than we were in the other clips. But we're going to have a delay pedal in the loop. You see, when we do that, what we can do is have the repeats of the delay, because it's only on the clean side of the pedal, the repeats are going to be clean. So you get this massive fuzz note at the front end, this big initial note, and the repeats are going to be completely clean, almost like two instruments playing. And for that today we're using the EBS Retracer delay pedal. Really cool delay pedal, digital, has MIDI and effects loop, tap tempo, all sorts going on. But it's a really cool pedal that deserves a video on its own. So we've got that running in the effects loop of this pedal. And for that clip we're also using the 54 Jazz Bass with a plectrum as well. So let's check that out now. So for the final clip today, we're going to look at synth bass. Had to be done. If you've seen any of my other videos, synth bass is something I love doing. And fuzz pedals are a key ingredient for that. But what's interesting is that effects loop can totally change how the pedals interact with each other for synth bass. Case in point, today we're going to use octave pedals. Got two really cool ones. We've got the Boss OC2, that's a classic octave pedal, and we also have the Gojira Octave Generator, which is kind of an OC2 style octaver with some extra bits, but we're not going to be using them today. In fact, what we're going to do is run this one, the Gojira, in the effects loop of the fuzz pedal. And we're going to run the OC2 after the fuzz pedal. Setting wise, the fuzz is using the exact same settings as the clip we used at the start of the video, and we're using the same bass, that Fender jazz bass with flat wounds. But the OC2 we have set with the octave 1, -1 octave, all the way up, octave 2 turned all the way down, and we'll have the direct level up about 2/3, purely because this after fuzz, if you didn't have some of that in, you wouldn't hear the fuzz. That control needs to be up to some extent to hear the fuzz going into the octaver. In fact, a lot of people run these before fuzz pedals, but because that's a germanium fuzz, really you don't want anything before that. That wants to interact with your pickups on your bass and see that signal properly, so we'll put this afterwards in this example. But this one's in the effects loop, and for this one we have the -2, the +1 octave, which is that extra thing, but we're not using that, and we have the clean signal. They're all turned completely off. All we are using is the -1 octave. So this is on the clean side only with the fuzz in parallel. And what you'll hear is, although they're both very subby, I mean it's impossible for that not to be subby. Same with this actually, they're both really massive sounding octave pedals. They both have their own unique vibe. Thanks to the placement in the signal chain, they both have their own unique tone, and I think both are a really cool option. In fact, on my pedal board, that lives in the effects loop, and that lives after the fuzz, because both are such cool sounds. But before we look at that, I just want to give some final thoughts. For me, this fuzz pedal is something that I think bass players need. There's a lot of fuzz pedals on the market, and there's a lot of fuzz and overdrive pedals that have clean mixes built in for bass players, and they all work really well, and there's some really cool stuff out there. But for me, this is something a bit different. Because it has the clean blend and the clean boost, you can really shape how the clean interacts. It's a really clever design, and that boost allows you to put the effect underneath your clean sound without compromising either. It's like running a clean amp and a distorted amp at the same time and balancing the two in the mix. And that effects loop as well on the clean just adds a whole other dimension to this pedal. There's so many cool things you could do with it. I could have been here for a couple of hours describing the sounds that I've managed to make while working with this pedal, because there's so much it can do. It's really become the centre point of my pedal board that everything builds out from there, because it's so useful. But of course, this is all my opinion. I'd love to hear what you think, so let me know in the comments below what you thought of the sound clips, what you thought of this pedal, and how you're using these types of effects in your signal chain, because I'd love to hear what you're all doing and what you all thought of this one. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please hit like and subscribe down below, clicking the bell icon to be notified of more content when it comes out. And until next time, keep working on those bass faces.